The Amish Guide to Storing Meat Without Electricity, and how you can too. The world today depends on refrigeration. Every grocery store, every home kitchen, every restaurant, refrigerators constantly, preserving food without a second thought. But what if that wasn't an option? What if the power went out for days, weeks? What if modern convenience wasn't available at all? For the Amish, this isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's reality. They live without refrigerators, without freezers, without electricity, and yet they preserve meat, not just for days or weeks, but months, even years. How? Through time-tested methods passed down for generations. Methods that require no fancy equipment, just knowledge, patience, and a deep understanding of how nature works. If you want to learn how to store meat the way they do, without relying on modern technology, you're in the right place. Let's dive into their secrets. 1. Salt curing. Let the salt do the work. Salt. Simple, powerful, essential. It's been used to preserve meat for thousands of years. The Amish still rely on it today. The process is straightforward. First, fresh meat is heavily coated in salt. Not just a sprinkle, a thick, heavy layer. It's packed into barrels, sometimes mixed with sugar or spices, then left to cure. The salt draws out moisture. Bacteria can't survive without moisture. No bacteria, no spoilage. After weeks or even months, the meat is fully cured. Then it's rinsed, dried, and stored in a cool place. Some families take it a step further. They rub lard over cured meat, sealing out air. This adds another layer of protection. The result? Meat that lasts 6 months, a year, longer. No electricity needed. 2. Smoking, the flavor pack preservation method. Ever walk past a smokehouse? That rich, deep, almost sweet smell hanging in the air? The Amish know it well. They've been using smoke to preserve meat for generations. After curing, the meat is hung inside a smokehouse. The fire is lit. Not just any fire, a slow-burning fire made from hardwoods. Hickory, applewood, maple. The wood choice matters. It adds flavor. The meat absorbs the smoke. The smoke does 2 things. It dries the meat, reducing moisture. It coats the surface with antimicrobial compounds, keeping bacteria away. There are 2 ways to smoke meat. Cold smoking, low temperatures, long duration. The meat isn't cooked, just preserved. Hot smoking, higher temperatures, shorter time. The meat is cooked and ready to eat. Cold smoked meats, like ham and bacon, need more curing. Hot smoked meats, they're good to go. Either way, smoked meat lasts months when stored properly. And the taste? Incredible. 3. Brining, when meat meets salt water. Dry salt curing works, but some Amish prefer a different approach. Brining is a liquid method just as effective. The meat is submerged in a strong saltwater solution. Sometimes sugar is added, sometimes spices. The salt seeps in, pulling moisture out. After weeks in the brine, the meat is preserved, ready for long-term storage. It can be stored in barrels, kept in root cellars, even submerged in its own fat for extra protection. When done right, brine meat stays good for months, maybe longer. Ever heard of corned beef? That's brining in action. 4. Larding, meat submerged in fat. Picture this. You cook a batch of pork, render the fat, pour it over the meat. The fat hardens, sealing the meat inside. No air, no bacteria, no spoilage. That's larding, or confit as some call it. The Amish have used it for years. So did their ancestors. Pork works best. But beef, duck, even game meat, they all do fine. Stored in clay crocks, wooden barrels, or glass jars, larded meat can last months. even a year. And when you need it, just scoop some out, warm it up, and eat. No fridge, no freezer, just meat and fat. A simple, forgotten technique that works. 5. Drying, the oldest trick in the book. No smoke, no salt, just air and time. Drying meat is one of the easiest ways to preserve it. The Amish slice meat into thin strips. Sometimes they season it. Then they hang it in barns, attics, even outdoors under the sun. The air does the work. Moisture leaves. Bacteria can't grow. Dried meat, like jerky, lasts for months. Some say years. The key? Keeping it dry. Some Amish also use smoke drying, a mix of drying and smoking. It adds extra protection and extra flavor. 6. Pemmican, the survival superfood. Ever heard of pemmican? It's a mix of dried meat rendered fat and sometimes berries or honey. High in protein, high in energy, long shelf life. The Amish learned this from Native Americans. They still use it today. Meat is dried, ground into powder, then mixed with melted fat. When cooled, it hardens, seals itself, stores forever. Pemmican is lightweight, portable, perfect for emergencies, or just for a quick, nutritious meal. 7. Underground storage, using the earth as a refrigerator. No fridge? No problem. The Amish use the ground itself. Root cellars, ice houses, buried barrels. The earth stays cool year-round. It keeps meat fresh. Some Amish harvest ice in winter, stored in sawdust-insulated ice houses. The ice lasts through summer, keeps meat cold, nature's fridge. Others bury cured meat in clay pots. The cool, damp earth slows down spoilage. It's simple. It's effective. 8. Canning meat in jars. Most think of canning for fruits or vegetables. The Amish use it for meat. Pressure canners cook the meat inside seal jars. The heat kills bacteria. The seal keeps it safe. Can meat last years? Ready to eat. No cooking needed. Beef, chicken, pork, even sausage. The Amish can it all. Stored on pantry shelves. It's a reliable food source all year long. 9. Fermenting meat but aged. Fermentation isn't just for veggies. It works for meat too. The Amish sometimes use fermentation for aged sausages. Beneficial bacteria take over. They outcompete harmful microbes. The meat stays safe and develops deep, rich flavors. Think salami. Think summer sausage. Hung in a cool, dry place, fermented meats last for months, even years. 10. Tallow and suet, the forgotten fats. Not all preservation is about meat itself. Sometimes it's about fat. The Amish render tallow beef fat and suet unprocessed fat. Melted down, stored in jars. It lasts years. They use it for cooking, soap making, even candle making. Fat is valuable. Nothing goes to waste. Why you should learn these methods. Refrigeration isn't guaranteed. Power goes out. Supply chains break. Grocery stores run empty. If that happens, what then? The Amish don't worry. They know how to keep food safe without modern technology. Their methods work. They've worked for generations. You can learn them too. Whether you're homesteading, prepping, or just curious, knowing how to store meat without electricity is a skill worth having. Because one day, you might need it.